Exotic dancers popping out of cakes, cheating on your future wife with the maid, drowning your Sims in a swimming pool just because you were in a psychopathic mood. Most of us who have played The Sims ever since the original title hold so many deep memories of the game. The Sims 4 is the worst Sims game to ever exist. This is something most people who have played The Sims since it first began seem to say. But what actually is The Sims? At first at least, it was a dollhouse simulator. Back in the 2000s, gaming meant killing monsters and shooting people, and Will Wright said, let's make a game where people do mundane things like cooking and cleaning and going to work. And apparently everybody enjoyed it. Since then, the game has evolved or devolved into what it has become today. So that begs a question, which Sims game is the best? Every Simmer has their own answer, of course. Usually it happens to be the first game they started playing. My first Sims game was The Sims 1, although I would hardly say that's my favorite. Of course, we could just end here and say that The Sims Castaway Stories was basically the best Sims game to ever exist, which it is. Although that would technically be cheating because it's not a mainline Sims title. Taking a look at The Sims 1, 2, 3, and 4, I have ranked every Sims game in order. So at number 4, we are coincidentally starting off with The Sims 4. Every Sims game follows a timeline, but The Sims 4 actually doesn't follow this timeline. It lives in its own alternate universe. And in this sense, one might say The Sims 4 was a sidestep. The Sims 3 needed modernizing, so they released a new game with better graphics, but that's the only thing that was really that much better. Unlike previous Sims sequels, which aimed to break the boundaries of their respective predecessor, The Sims 4 did quite the opposite. Right now, The Sims 4 is in a much better state than it was in before the countless free base game updates leading up to the game eventually becoming free 8 years later. Although at release, it was a very sore sight to see. The game launched with no swimming pools. That meant no torturing your Sims by fencing them off in a pool. It meant no real deaths, as Ghosts didn't launch in the base game and came as a future update. And for the family players, toddlers weren't a thing. They didn't exist in the game, nor were family trees either, so that left most players disappointed. The Sims 4 reverted from having an expansive open world system to a closed world. Color wheels gone. Creator style tool gone. Even dishwashers were missing from the game. I know, shock horror. Despite this, the game went on to be the best-selling Sims title ever and generated an estimated over $1 billion in sales. I've discussed a few of the issues surrounding The Sims 4 before, but ultimately the game launched with rocky foundations, a platform not built on ambition and creativity, but a platform, allegedly, created in a rush in order to get the game released. To this day, The Sims 4 is arguably the most spaghetti-coded Sims game, and the more packs you own, the worse it seems to get. Don't get me wrong, The Sims 4 has the best build mode of any Sims game. It also has the best create a sim mode of any Sims game, but the actual game, as in live mode, is simply not the best. Yes, The Sims 4 has the most features of any Sims game, but it still just feels like there's something off about it. The Sims has always felt cash grabby with a constant stream of DLC to upsell you ever since the first game really, but The Sims 4 really took it to a brand new level. I couldn't even count how much DLC exists for this game so far. I actually did calculate it once, and I calculated up to over $1,000 and that was a few months ago, so it should be even more now. So to own the entire collection, like, it does cost a lot of money. I'll let you form your own opinion about that. There are so many packs for this game in order to have a fun experience, and you really do have to own quite a few of them in order to do so. But even then, something still feels missing. Yes, the game has tons more features than any other Sims game, but it just seems to lack the fundamental charm older Sims games have. The Sims was never really about late night bowling stuff. Experience the thrill of bowling for only $9.99. It was never about leveling up your fitness skill and taking rock climbing to the next level with fitness stuff for only $9.99. It was just about enjoying life, taking all the mundane things and making them seem fun. I can't help but The Sims 4 took the emphasis away from that and more towards how can we market cute pack concepts and churn out more and more DLC. Don't get me wrong, The Sims 4 is not boring. It's definitely stale to those who have fond memories of playing previous Sims games, but it's not bad. You can still enjoy The Sims 4, and now it's free, there's literally no reason to play it. It just lacks The Sims in its essence. It lacks The Sims. Sims, and that's the only way to describe it. At number 3, we have The Sims 1. I mean, I say this game was about experiencing the mundane side of life. The Sims was wild. If you keep your eyes off the game for longer than a second, suddenly the house is on fire, someone has burgled your house, a bear's rummaging through your trash can, all whilst at the same time a random skunk appears and sprays all over you. The Sims really was a chaotic game in the best way. I even have an entire Let's Play series on my channel revisiting every Sims 1 pack. Link to the playlist is in the bio, by the way. And I can categorically say the game is really chaotic and fun. Before everyone turned into an overly sensitive wet wipe, The Sims wasn't afraid of being adult in your face and offensive at all times. The game mostly had simple mechanics and most experiences were relatively surface level, but they were still fun. Although I just can't help but feel like this is more of a nostalgia factor than anything else. I love The Sims, I always will, but to be brutally honest with you, I am never touching this game again. Unlike many older popular titles like Super Mario 64, The Sims just didn't really stand the test of time. It's the basics of what a dollhouse simulator should be, but didn't really go much further than that. Sims 1, you will always hold a special place in my heart. Sounds like I'm talking like a beloved. Like a beloved loved one, beloved partner. I will always love you. The Sims 1 just had ambition, which is extremely transparent in the gameplay, which is why it's higher than The Sims 4. It just doesn't hold up well now. At number 2, we have The Sims 3. On the subject of ambition, this was definitely the most ambitious Sims title, hands down. Nothing screams I've had 3 Barocca Boosts and a tablespoon of granules in my morning coffee more than The Sims 3 does. The open world, the most loved thing about this game. You could honestly spend ages just following what other Sims were doing. They all had lives, they all had things to be doing. The game just felt alive, and that's why I love it. Not only that, the packs felt meaningful and fleshed out. They each left you with a really strong experience that left you feeling fulfilled. To be honest, you only ever really needed to own one Sims 3 expansion pack. That was enough to give you a full experience. When I was younger, I just had The Sims 3 World Adventures, coming with 3 huge worlds, literally tons of quests and secret tombs to visit. The game had challenge and it had a lot to offer. And let's not forget about the Supernatural pack. It contained literally every single Sims occult placed into one big pack. Not like The Sims 4, which gives them each their own separate pack. And best of all, each occult was so fleshed out, it didn't feel like quantity took place over quality. The Sims 3 always had both quality and quantity. Although you can have too much of a good thing, just like the midday crash you get after a morning of downing tons and tons of coffee. The Sims 3 was very well known for crashing. To this day, even EA recommends you only launch the game with 1 or a couple of packs selected at a time in order to reduce performance lag. The Sims 3 became way too big for its boots. It was good, but even with a NASA PC, like you couldn't really run the game that well at all. To this day, when I launch The Sims 3 on my PC, I can even still hear the fans accelerating like no other Sims game has done. And no matter how many incredible features a game has, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. The Sims 3 was a force to be reckoned with, sometimes to its own demise. But don't worry, Sims 3, I will always still love you, like a beloved partner. At number 1, if you haven't already guessed it, it's The Sims 2. Sims in The Sims 2 felt like living, breathing people. They interact in so many complex ways, even more complex than The Sims 4. Sims had wants and fears in life, they had goals, they had complex social relationships, they had cutscenes which were incredible, story progression, deep lore, mysteries, hidden secrets. Absolutely nothing will beat the charm of The Sims 2, hands down. If you want to know why, I have a whole playlist of that here. In fact, I have a whole playlist of The Sims 1, 2, 3. So if you want to check out all of those, they are also in the bio below. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.